is you just throw this stuff together and you hope for the best. Red, white, whatever. The traditional way of making wine in Rioja is, well, it was that way 150 years ago. Throw it all together. Don Quixote slashing away at the great beasts. Remember, if you read, Don Quixote, Miguel Cervantes, he's slashing away at the cow skins and the goat skins that are filled with wine because those were perfectly good receptacles or vessels for wine. And in the 1850s, 1860s, a couple of people, Marquis de Rioja, Marquis de Riscal, said, these goat skins are not ideal, really, for making a good wine. Let's get some barrels from the Bordelais. So they start buying barrels from the Bordelais to make a more expensive wine. And then in the 1860s and 1870s, phylloxera, this microscopic bug that comes from North America, ends up on some vine cuttings brought from North America to Europe and decimates the vineyards of Europe. And so the Bordelais, not really knowing yet exactly what the answer is, knowing what the problem is, but not yet how to fix it, they run across the Pyrenees Mountains to Rioja. Why? They've been selling barrels. It's like, oh, well, these people seem to have a clue. Let's go here and make wine. And they make wine there. I mean, the Bordelais start making wine in the 1860s and 1870s. In fact, they make so much wine, I found a factoid once that I really enjoyed, that in 1900, the average amount of wine being exported from Rioja into France was the equivalent of 4 million cases per month. Wow. And you know it was all corrected later. Right? Absolutely. But here's the gig. That wine number one, is a direct reflection of this traditional method of making wine they learned in the 1860s and 1870s from the Bordelais. Why? Because the Bordelais in the 1860s and 1870s, they've got unripe grapes too. Unripe grapes taste thin, astringent, bitter, don't have a lot of fresh fruit to them. That's true, but what you do if you want to soften that out, you put them in barrel for a long time. Now, not all wines survive that barrel aging. Some wines, most wines, frankly, would lose their fruit before that bitterness, that tartness, that stringency fades away into something more almost confectionery with enough time in barrel. More dried fruits and raisins and dates and fruitcake and stuff like that. But a few barrels handle that aging. Almost sometimes mysteriously so. Those barrels get a separate name. They get a name called Grand Reserve. So the way forward to make a great wine from the 1860s in Rioja and up until very recently is to age a wine a long time in barrel. If it survives that well, if it does well under those conditions, we would give it the highest possible designation of Grand Reserve.